Flying feels almost second nature these days. You check in, clear security, find your seat, buckle in, and prepare for takeoff. But behind the smooth voice of the captain, the friendly flight crew, and the snack service lies a hidden side of aviation that few passengers ever see. It's a world full of carefully kept secrets. In this video, we're uncovering little-known truths about air travel, things pilots understand, flight attendants train for, and airlines rarely explain. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear could forever change how you view flying. Let's get started. 1. Why do the lights dim during takeoff and landing? Ever noticed how the cabin lights go down as the plane takes off or lands, especially during night flights? It's not just to create a relaxing environment, it's a critical safety measure. Your eyes need time to adjust to the darkness outside the aircraft in case of an emergency evacuation. Bright lights inside the cabin can delay your ability to see clearly when moving into a darker environment, like a nighttime runway or a smoke-filled fuselage. By dimming the lights, the crew is helping passengers' vision adapt to potential emergency conditions. This simple step improves your chances of reacting quickly and correctly during a crisis. It's a quiet precaution that has saved lives, and most travelers never realize it's happening for their benefit. 2. Planes can legally fly with broken components. Modern jets are marvels of engineering, packed with systems and electronics. However, that doesn't mean everything has to work perfectly every time. Airlines follow a document called the Minimum Equipment List, MIL, which outlines which items must be functional for a plane to be declared airworthy. Things like cockpit instruments, hydraulics, or engines obviously must work. But non-critical items, such as broken armrests, non-functioning coffee makers, or even malfunctioning lavatory signs, can legally be overlooked. This may seem surprising, but MEL guidelines are designed to keep flights operating safely and efficiently while minimizing delays. So while a tray table might be stuck or an entertainment screen might be blank, rest assured the critical flight systems are thoroughly checked and in proper working order. 3. Hidden sleeping areas for crew exist on long flights. On long-haul international flights, the cabin crew and pilots often work shifts lasting 10 hours or more. So how do they stay alert and rested? The answer lies in discreet, often hidden crew rest compartments. In large aircraft like the Boeing 777 or 787, there are small, secure bunk areas tucked away above or below the main cabin. Accessed through unmarked doors or narrow staircases, these rest areas contain small beds, dim lighting, and sometimes personal climate controls to allow for real sleep. Pilots have their own separate space, often behind the cockpit, while flight attendants usually rest near the rear of the plane. These compartments are out of sight, but they're essential to ensuring the crew remains sharp and capable throughout long journeys. 4. Oxygen masks only provide a few minutes of air. We've all seen the safety briefing. Masks drop, you're told to put yours on first, but what's rarely mentioned is how long those masks actually last. The average oxygen mask supplies air for just 12 to 15 minutes. That might sound short, but it's more than enough for the pilot to bring the aircraft down to a safe altitude where supplemental oxygen is no longer needed. Commercial jets cruise at altitudes above 30,000 feet, where the air is too thin to breathe. If there's a loss of cabin pressure, the plane must descend rapidly, usually within 5 to 10 minutes, to under 10,000 feet. That's why getting your mask on quickly is critical. You only have a few seconds before symptoms of hypoxia like confusion, dizziness, and blackouts set in. Those precious minutes of oxygen can mean the difference between staying conscious or not. 5. Onboard tap water might not be clean. Think twice before sipping that in-flight tea or coffee. Most of it is made with tap water stored in onboard tanks, and those tanks are not cleaned as often as you'd expect. Multiple studies and airline inspections have revealed microbial contamination, including bacteria like E. coli, in the water systems of commercial planes. Although regulations technically require the water to be potable, the standards are often lower than what you'd expect at home. Additionally, the plumbing connecting those tanks to coffee makers or sinks may harbour buildup or biofilm. That's why many flight attendants avoid the tap water entirely and only drink from sealed bottles. If you're sensitive to stomach issues or just cautious about hygiene, it's best to avoid drinks made with plain tap water altogether. 6. Yes, pilots are allowed to nap. On especially long flights, such as transoceanic or intercontinental journeys, pilots are legally allowed to take controlled naps. This system, called controlled rest in position, is approved by aviation authorities to help reduce fatigue. The resting pilot remains in the cockpit seat and reclines it slightly while the other pilot stays fully alert. On longer flights, additional relief pilots are often on board to rotate duties and allow the main pilots to take full rest in the designated crew quarters. Fatigue is one of the biggest safety risks in aviation, so regulated in-flight rest is seen as a protective measure, not a luxury. It ensures that pilots remain sharp and alert during the most critical phases of the flight: takeoff and landing. So, if your captain is sleeping mid-flight, it's not cause for alarm. It's part of safe operating procedures. 7. Airplane mode is about radio interference, not safety. The announcement to switch your device to airplane mode might sound like a formality, but there's a real reason behind it. And it's not because your phone could crash the plane. The issue lies in the possibility of signal interference. When dozens or even hundreds of phones are trying to connect to ground networks at once, it can produce static or noise on radio channels used by pilots and air traffic control. While one phone isn't a problem, the combined effect of many active signals can create disruption. It's especially important during takeoff and landing when communication is most critical. So while ignoring airplane mode likely won't cause a disaster, it can affect cockpit clarity, and that's reason enough to follow the rule. 8. Bathroom doors can be unlocked from the outside. That tiny aircraft lavatory might feel like the only private space on the plane, but it's not quite as private as you think. Every airplane bathroom is designed with a hidden latch on the outside, usually located behind the lavatory sign that allows the door to be opened from the outside in emergencies. This mechanism exists so flight attendants can assist passengers who become unresponsive, ill, or simply lock themselves in accidentally. While it's rarely used, it's a safety feature that lets crew act quickly if something goes wrong behind a locked door. So the next time you're in there, remember, privacy is relative when you're 35,000 feet in the air. 9. The crew sizes you up when you board. That friendly hello as you step onto the plane. It's more than just politeness. Flight attendants are trained to quickly scan passengers as they board, watching for signs of intoxication, illness, or erratic behavior. They're also identifying passengers who appear strong, calm, or capable of helping in an emergency. This mental checklist helps crew members know who might need extra attention or who they could rely on during a crisis. This evaluation takes just a second or two per person, but it's part of every crew's routine. It's one of those behind-the-scenes steps that helps keep flights running smoothly and safely without you ever realizing it. 10. Some seats are safer than others. While every seat is certified for safety, some offer slightly better odds in extreme emergencies. Studies of past accidents show that passengers seated near the rear of the plane have had higher survival rates in certain crashes. In many incidents, the tail section was less damaged than the front or middle of the aircraft. Rear seats are also farther from potential points of impact and explosion. However, it's not just about the seat row. Aisle seats tend to get knocked around more by service carts or unsteady passengers and offer less shielding in case of sudden turbulence. While choosing a seat might not make a difference in most flights, if you're nervous about flying, the back row might give you a little peace of mind. 11. Planes get struck by lightning regularly. A bolt of lightning might sound like a catastrophic event, but for modern aircraft, it's almost routine. Commercial planes are typically struck by lightning at least once a year, and they're built to handle it. The outer skin of most aircraft is made from conductive materials like aluminum, which allow the electrical charge to flow harmlessly across the surface and exit through a designated discharge point. Most of the time, passengers won't even realize it's happened. You might see a flash or hear a muffled boom, but thanks to engineering and physics, you're completely safe. Pilots are trained to report and inspect after any strike, ensuring no system damage goes unnoticed. 12th, cabin air is partially recycled. Many passengers assume the air in an airplane is stale, and they're partly right. The air inside a commercial jet is a mix of fresh air brought in from outside and recycled air filtered through HEPA systems. These high-efficiency filters remove over 99.97% of particles, including viruses and bacteria, making the cabin air surprisingly clean. The issue isn't necessarily the air, it's the surfaces. Armrests, seatbelts, tray tables, and entertainment screens are touched by hundreds of people daily, often without proper sanitization. During peak cold and flu season, a mask or sanitizing wipe can go a long way in protecting your health while flying. 13. Tray tables are full of germs. It might seem harmless, but the tray table in front of you is one of the dirtiest surfaces on the entire plane. Unlike bathrooms, which are cleaned regularly, tray tables often go untouched between flights. Passengers use them to eat, rest their heads, change diapers, and more, all without anyone coming by with disinfectant in between trips. Studies have shown that some tray tables harbour more bacteria than a household toilet seat. If you're planning to eat, work or rest on one, it's a good idea to wipe it down first with a disinfectant wipe. It might not look dirty, but it's often crawling with germs. 14. Overbooked flights are intentional. You may think overbookings happen by accident, but in reality, they're part of airline strategy. Carriers sell more tickets than there are seats, banking on the fact that some passengers won't show up. This helps maximize profits and minimize empty seats. But when everyone does show, the airline has to bump someone, offering vouchers, rebooking, or sometimes removing passengers involuntarily. While it's legal, it can be deeply frustrating, especially if you're on a tight schedule or traveling for a special event. Always check in early and consider selecting a seat in advance to reduce your chances of being bumped. 15. There's a plan if someone dies in flight. As morbid as it sounds, airlines have protocols in place in the rare event that a passenger dies mid-flight. If there's space, the deceased may be quietly moved to an empty row and covered with a blanket. On longer routes, some aircraft carry special kits, including body bags, but there's no designated area for storage. If no empty seats are available, the person remains in their seat until the plane lands. Cabin crew are trained to handle such situations with dignity and discretion, minimizing distress to other passengers. It's another reminder of just how much airline staff prepare for the unexpected. Flying is full of hidden details and quiet procedures that most travelers never think about. From secret crew bunks and recycled air to dimmed lights and napping pilots, there's far more happening behind the scenes than meets the eye. If this video revealed something new to you, tap that like button, subscribe for more behind-the-scenes travel facts, and share which secret surprised you most in the comments. Safe travels, and don't forget the sanitizing wipes.